like all of you to close your eyes and imagine that you have just been born to two immigrant parents. You are their new baby girl. Your parents are illiterate and they're unskilled. By the time you turn 8, you lose your vision. And that same year, your mom dies. At 10, your dad takes you and your little brother. He abandons you, and you both have to go live in community housing. Shortly thereafter, your brother dies too. You're able to find work, cleaning houses, but because of your vision loss, you're not able to keep that job. You can open your eyes. In life, we experience what I call big deaths and little deaths. Big deaths are any time we experience the loss of a person or an animal that we care about. Their physical presence will no longer be with us. Now, a little death is any time we experience personal loss. That can be something like you go through a divorce, or you're trying to get into the college of your dreams and you just can't get in, or you lose your job. Those are all forms of personal loss. Now, big and little deaths have a best friend, and they are best friends with grief. Grief comes with both. Most of the time, we think that you only experience grief with the big deaths in life, when somebody dies, right? But that's not true. We experience grief all the time. We experience grief any time there is a loss. The Kubler-Ross model describes 5 stages of grief. They are denial, anger, bargaining, depression, and acceptance. Okay, let me give you an example. Let's imagine there's a little boy, and he just finds out that his mom and dad are going to get a divorce. In the denial stage, he may say, nope, mom and dad are not getting a divorce. They just had a really bad fight this time, but it's not actually going to happen. In the anger stage, he may say, I hate mom for doing this to us. I hate her for this. In the bargaining stage, he may say, I've got it. I'm going to keep my room so clean, and I'm not going to fight with my sister like at all, and mom and dad are going to get back together. I know it. In the depression stage, he's probably going to feel really sad, helpless, and his grades are probably going to suffer in school. But in the acceptance stage, that's when he's going to realize, hey, mom and dad are like really happy all the time, and I have 2 whole bedrooms completely to myself. That is awesome. You see, he's adjusted to the new normal, okay? Grief brings with it a gift, and that is the gift of resiliency. When a little death comes into your life and knocks you down, resiliency is what helps you get right back up. Resiliency is like a muscle, and big deaths and little deaths are opportunities for us to strengthen that muscle. How many of you have ever experienced a little death in life? How many of you have ever failed at something? Okay. When you failed, how did you feel? Let me challenge this here. We don't actually feel failure because failure is not an emotion. Failure is a perspective. Grief is an emotion. They are different things. So the question really is, how do we get through little deaths? We do that through the RISE method, and there are 4 parts to the RISE method. They are recognize, investigate, separate, and embark. First, we have to recognize that we've experienced a little death and that grief often comes with it. Sometimes that's just the hardest part. The second part is to investigate. This is where we need to check in with ourselves and see how we're feeling. Grief is often a roller coaster. One day it's like you're fine, and then the next day you don't want to get out of bed. The reason why this step is so important is because if you're not kind of keeping tabs on what you're feeling, there's a really good chance that you're bottling things up or completely ignoring your feelings, and that's not healthy, and that is what's going to keep you stuck. The next step is to separate. You need to separate your previous expectations and set them aside. What do I mean by that? What I mean is in life, any one goal, there is often more than one way to get there. And finally, we embark. You need to set 1 or 2 small, actionable goals that can help get you started moving forward. You see, when we experience a little death, whatever it was we were trying to do or get to, when we go through the little death, that goal can feel even farther away than when we first got started. So it's important to set 1 or 2 small things that we can do to help us get moving forward on that new path. As an example, when I was in high school, I knew I wanted to go to college. And in order to go to college, I had to take this test called the SAT. Do I have any SAT takers in the room? Okay. So I show up to take this test, and to put it nicely, I did horribly that first time. In fact, I fell asleep during the test. Definitely not a good test-taking method. I thought it was just like a fluke, so I had to take it again a second time. And I got the same result, although I stayed awake. So it's better. Still did absolutely horrible. At 16, that really knocked the wind out of me because I remember being like, am I dumb? And I had no idea until right now. So what I did was I remember stepping back and saying, okay, you're trying to go to college. SAT pathway, not working out. What can I do? So I took the ACT. I did much better on that test for whatever reason, got into college, yay, okay? You see, failure is just a form of really helpful feedback. It's not bad. And little deaths in life, little deaths can offer us so much guidance if we listen for it. So let's go back to the beginning when I had you all imagine yourselves as this little girl. I'm going to give you the rest of her story. After she lost her job cleaning houses, she recognized that opportunities that were available to the masses, they were not going to be available to her in her life with the hand that she was dealt. So she had to keep an open mind, and that's what she did. She got word of a school for the blind in Boston. She was able to attend. While there, she was able to have a surgery on her eyes, and she regained some of her vision. By the time she was 20, she graduated as valedictorian of her class. The woman I'm talking about is named Anne Sullivan. She's best known as Helen Keller's teacher and lifelong companion of 49 years. Anne had a lot of big deaths and a lot of little deaths in her life, right? Did those big and little deaths hold her back? No. They made her who she became. In 1936, Anne died. She was cremated, and her remains were interred in the National Cathedral in Washington, D.C. That was the first time a woman had ever been honored in that way for her incredible life achievements. Little deaths happen to all of us. Death is normal. Death is kind of mundane. And grief does not always have to do with a dead body. My hope is that you'll take these tools to rise above and reimagine what you can be. And let yourself be lifted by your little deaths. Thank you.